1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's Cure of the What Now.
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the What Now.
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh.
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the What Now.
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the What Now.
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh. Served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow chefs who have spent the last 20 years desperately seeking the secret to good ramen, and welcome to episode 10 of
Cure of the What Now. Yum.
the one show where we know is love.
Yeah, love is the secret ingredient. Absolutely.
You just gotta, stare at your ramen and, just love really hard into it.
Interesting. Okay.
Give the stock pot a hug while it's boiling. My name is Kat. I'm the host of the show, and I am not suspicious. I'm just the council president.
Yeah, you're just someone who knows about these fairies that no one else knows about, and also,
What? I feel like your tone is implying something. Are you trying to imply something?
I don't
even know who you are.
Oh, I'm the co-host Joel. I'm the source of all sounds, including this one. Boink.
Did it take you a hot minute to think of a sound?
Well, no, I was thinking I was going to insert a sound, but I guess putting a placeholder would be good, and then I could have surprised you when you went back to review the episode with some crazy sound effects.
Okay, I'll look forward to that surprise that I will be surprised by. Joel, before we start up this episode, do you have any news, or do you have a discussion question?
Well, I believe that I alluded to this earlier, but for season 1, I put all of the bloopers and extras up on YouTube kind of all at once, but as we're going through season 2, I'm going to do it in a more as-is fashion, I guess, one at a time. So now that we've reached episode 10, look forward to having the bloopers and extras compilation up on YouTube.
Wow, 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 air horn sound! Just
yes.
Excited, good sound effects.
Absolutely.
That's cool, though. I'm excited to hear those, because some of them are really funny, and some of them were, what are we talking about? How did we come to this place?
Yes.
So I'm interested for you all to hear them, or excited, I guess, for you all to hear them.
Yes. So really quickly, before each episode starts, we do a little mic test, and sometimes we talk about it can really just be anything, and so every episode is guaranteed to have at least one extra, but then there's also sometimes content that we cut, or sometimes we mess up the intro. That one happens a lot, actually, and those all get set in there, and there will be timestamps that tell you, here's the episode 1 stuff, here's the episode 2 stuff. Also, I realized that we never actually watched the sweet PreCure All-Stars movie. I believe that it's All-Stars DX or something, PreCure DX3. So we're probably going to watch that for not next week's episode, but the episode after that. We will plan on watching it in the Discord server, and if you have any thoughts on the movie, you can let us know, and we'll discuss it for that episode.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
There's also a Max Heart movie, which comes out, it aired after episode 10, so I believe we're going to cover it and episode 10 together in the same episode of the podcast, assuming that episode 10 even has anything worth covering. Who knows?
Harsh as heck. If you want to watch these movies with us, you can join our Discord. You know where the link is. If you've been listening to this podcast by now, you know that we are friendly people. Come join our Discord!
You can even join the religion of Karun and join Pete and I as the high ministers, the high priests. Ministers! We are the ones who account for Karun's taxes. Karun spent $6,790 million on seashell cookies.
That's a little much, Karun.
Karun?
And Pete the Triceratops did a face reveal in the Discord recently, so,
Absolutely. We have a channel for animals and pets because I love posting pictures of the pets. Kat loves posting pictures of the pets. And James really loves posting kind of like TikToks or YouTube videos of people's animals and whatnot. And then James kept saying, I need a dinosaur channel. And I said, all right. Because you are the number one fan of the podcast and the most active member of the community, I will create a dinosaur channel for you. And it felt a little empty, so I decided to put Pete the Triceratops in there. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate being included. You know, it's really nice. Hey, have you noticed that you kind of get tired in the middle of the day? You know, you need a little perk me up.
Pete,
you can go to
www. No, don't go to that
www.triceratopsjuice.com.
Don't buy the things he's selling.
Every 10% is donated to the Dinosaur Rehabilitation Clinic.
That's what he calls his leaf fund.
Leaf fund? His hedge fund, you mean?
No, I mean like the leaves that he eats. Triceratops are herbivores.
Sorry, your brain was on a different galaxy than mine was.
This episode is off to a great start, man. Pete's
Absolutely.
over here shilling his MLM supplement bullshit.
What about that sound in MLM? He never mentioned being your own boss, setting your own hours, or anything
Pete,
like that. Yeah?
would you consider yourself a dino boss?
No, not really.
Oh.
I just got sponsored by a wonderful product, so I just thought that maybe, you know.
Oh.
Well, I hear that you used to do fake ads on the podcast,
Well,
so I thought that I would.
Damn it, Joel, now you made me feel bad. Last time we did this bit with Pete, it was an MLM.
These aren't bits. Pete is a valuable member of the podcasting family.
Do you talk to Pete when I am not home?
That's for me and Pete to know. None of your business. What are you, a cop? I think that you're a cop. I also think that you're a cop.
This is not a Tom Hardy podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I feel like we're getting a little bit off the rails here.
Good job using I feel statements. Yes, let's get back on the rails. We usually start with a lead-in discussion. Last week, we were a little jumbled and we weren't able to come up with one. But this week, we're back, baby. And I've got kind of an esoteric idea. It's not one that I think that they would probably do in a lot of PreCure. But, okay, so in other seasons, like Princess PreCure, one of our favorite season, they have different dresses, and throughout the series, they get, like, increased attack power or whatever. What I'm thinking of is a PreCure season where they have different forms or different styles of fighting, but they are not incrementally better. It's not like this is the level 1, this is the level 2, this is the level 3. What I'm thinking of is like the PreCure can have like an attack form, or they can have a defense form, or they can have a healing form. I guess technically that's what Princess or Witchy did. Witchy had different forms or whatever. But if you were to make it like really central to the theme of the story, that they can they have multiple PreCure forms they can take, what other structures would you put into the story that kind of feed into that theme? Does that make sense?
I think so. So you're saying if they could take different forms as PreCure.
Yeah.
So like they've got a fire form or an ice form, or they're Kirby, basically. What else, like what would support that in the story?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think overall, the story would be about becoming your best self, kind of like how Sabomi wanted to become like a stronger version of her.
Absolutely.
And so you would definitely have a scene where they fought dark versions of themselves.
Sure. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I love that trope. And where else would you put it other than look at all these alternate forms? Maybe somebody walks into like the Hall of Mirrors where you will become a stronger PreCure, and in every mirror is a different reflection of them.
Oh.
They have to fight all of them.
Very Bleach-esque of you, even though I don't think you've seen that episode of Bleach.
I haven't seen any episodes of Bleach.
You've seen clips.
But yeah, I think that would be the major theme, would be becoming your best self. And so kind of like how in Hugto they tried out different jobs throughout. Maybe they would try on different personas. Like 1 week they'd be like punk alternative girls at the skate park, and then 1 week they'd be K-pop idols.
Okay. I think that a lot of PreCure seasons have done this, but I think they would kind of get characters from each individual episode who have their own kind of journey, and they would become friends with one of the PreCure. So I think what enables, like, let's say that the main character is named Sarah, generic English name, but, you know, if Sarah meets another girl who is into skateboarding, like you just mentioned or whatever, and they have like a strong friendship that they form, and then the bad guys show up and attack the skate park, it is Sarah's love of this new activity and her friend that gives her her new PreCure punk form or whatever, right?
Yes.
So they would have specific relationships that were especially strong And that's what would give them the ability to transform into their new forms. I do not like the idea of there being magical MacGuffins, and once they find the MacGuffin, they get their new form. That seems lazy. I'd prefer that it is born, like, from their heart and their feelings.
I like that a lot. I prefer that to the, I think it's happiness charge. They get different cards that allow them to put on different outfits.
Oh, cool. I mean, I like that motif, but, you know, again, if it's just like you picked up the magic rock and now you have a red outfit, that doesn't feel quite the same as, again, being born of your true feelings.
Absolutely. Also, I just want to let you all out there in the podcasting space know we do not tolerate happiness charge slander on this podcast.
Is that one of the seasons that is, like, contentious or that doesn't...
It's the one with the kind of weird art style, and it's super, super campy. Like, it is just ridiculously over the top.
Is that the 10th season one where the... Okay, yeah. Definitely has its own unique art style. I like it, but I
just... Cure Lovely is such a perfect, ridiculous person. And her shouting, I Cure Lovely am invincible in the opening is like
that's
perfection.
That's chef's kiss right there.
Exactly. Absolutely. Once again, the villains are accidentally boomers because I think my pitch for villains for this season would be people who feel like they are too old to change and they've stagnated. And they don't want anybody else to change either because they can't. And the PreCure would be like, it's never too late to try to be your best self. You can always try something new.
They could be sort of like You're basically, everyone is well suited to a task and they should only do the thing that they're best at. You know, if you're not good at art, don't do art, even though artists might encourage other people to do art if they want to on their own time, kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
All right.
Do you have a succinct summary for this episode of Delicious Party?
Absolutely. We just watched episode 7 of Delicious Party PreCure. The Kokone and Yui and Mary are trying to investigate who this person is that they found on Cure Insta or whatever it's called. And they see that this person has tweeted about some place called the Panda Hut. They go, they discovered their classmate there. They also realized that Chururine has tweeted about the energy fairies. They meet Ran, who's like, oh, I can see the fairies. And they're like, oh yeah, they're called recipes. So she goes, cool. She goes to the library to look up legends to see if she can find out more about these recipes. And the sus as heck student council president goes, oh, you're looking for the recipes. I can tell you how to find more of them.
I know the pee-pee secrets.
So, Ran, now knowing the pee-pee secrets, has decided that she's going to do a half-off sale or a buy-one-get-one-free sort of deal at her family's restaurant, and a bunch of people show up, which causes the recipes to show up, which causes Gentlu to show up, which is strange that, you know, the student council president created a scheme that would create more recipes.
Also, at the beginning of this episode, Gentle says, I have an idea for how I can get a lot of recipes at once. And Then we see this scene completely disconnected, of course, of the student council president.
Absolutely. So they summon a monster. Ran has, at this point, made friends with Mem, the energy dragon of Noodles, who is a dragon and super cute. And she becomes Cure Yum Yum, and she's really good at fighting, and she saves the day. And then at the very end, Yui and Kokone tell her, like, oh, we think that you might be Chururun. And she's like, I am Chururun. How did you know? And they're like, because there's only 4 characters that can see recipes, and you're not Gentle, so obviously you must be this Chururun character.
Every time you say Chururun, I think of the JoJo's But Really Fast. Next you'll say Chuninin.
Chuninin. Oh, that has been your delicious, succinct summary.
I enjoyed licking it. La 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 la.
Luxurious lemons. Also, there is a cat. I apologize if you heard her. Or, if you enjoyed hearing her, that's awesome. I'm glad that she was able to brighten your day.
Never apologize for Sinatra. Sinatra is love. Sinatra's life. She, like Shrek, is an onion. Do you like this episode?
Yeah, I like this episode. So as you may know, if you've seen these posts on Reddit, or if you've seen me tweet about them, or if you're in the Discord server, I create sticker sheets. So when we go through the episode, I try to take a picture of anything that is cute, anything that is funny, or anything that is extra dramatic. And I eventually remove the backgrounds and I put them into a sticker sheet. And then I also take each character and put them in their own sticker sheet. So I have one for episode 1, I have one for episode 2, I have one for episode 3, of course. But then I also have one that's specifically all of the Yui pictures that I've gotten. I've gotten one that's all of the Kokone pictures that I have taken. I have the one that's all of the Mary pictures that I've taken. Can't remember if I gave Mary their own, I'm pretty sure that I did. But up until now, I did not have a single Mem picture. And now, I have 17 Mem pictures. I took so many screenshots. I took 50, and I think 80% of them were either Ran or Mem related in some way. It was incredible.
That's amazing. I love that as well.
Did you like this episode?
Yes and no. I love Ran. I think she's amazing. I think she's best girl, just automatically. Her energy is fantastic. She's kind of dumb. It's very cute. I wish that she had had more of a moment of reckoning, right? Kind of like what I was asking for in the last episode. I want her to be like, I want her to connect the dots. You've been following me around and you've been ruining the food for everyone. Instead, they made it more personal, like it was the food that her family worked so hard on, and that's fine, but you put so much work into... Man, I'm Instagramming this food and now it's not good. Like, have something come of that.
The fan art ideas of showing, like, Ran just throwing hands with Gentlu as Ran, not as Kiri Yum Yum, those were excellent. Or her, like, tying up Gentle and stuff like that. I agree. I think that they still did it pretty well. But, yeah, Ran is... I think a lot of people suspected she was going to be a fun character when she showed up. We've already had hints to her character in previous episodes. She reminds me a lot of Hinata from Healin' Good, who was my favorite character from that season. And she also kind of has a little bit of Erika Kurumi, maybe Laura in her. I would say she more directly reminds me of Erika than Laura, but she's a little bit of kind of like the meme queen character and full of energy, not... probably the best student or the smartest of the group.
Absolutely.
She's the smartest of the group. You know her well.
I like her fairy, too. He seems to have kind of a more subdued personality.
Yeah.
You know, Kome is cute, and Pam is extra, and he's just sort of sweet.
Yeah, well, and okay, again, to go back to Healin' Good, in that season, there were initially 3 fairies, and I think that Mem most reminds me of Peggy Tan in a sense, because Peggy Tan was kind of like this nervous little, oh, I don't know if we're gonna be okay, I'm just a little guy, ooh, and his character growth was becoming more confident. Mem is kind of like that, but he's not timid, he's just a lump. He's just kind of like a dude who kind of like goes at his own pace. But when Ran gets fired up, he gets fired up. And he can breathe fire. That is an ability that he has, but only when he's like really feeling energetic about it. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that.
I love it. I love seasons where the fairies get like their own personalities and they interact with each other.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm glad that they brought that back for this season.
There's one when Mem wakes up, Mary says something like, oh, I was already coming over here because Mem wanted to eat food or something. Pam sees Mem and is like, oh, and she throws herself at him, and I think Mem's a guy, and she hugs him really tight, and he just kind of is just kind of like, he's just a guy, like he's spacing out, like he has no thoughts, but Pam's like, you're awake, I've missed you so much.
So Kokone, in her transformation, says something like, the spice for your palate, a dainty sandwich.
Yes.
And Yui says something like, overflowing with energy from piping hot rice. Do you remember what Ran says as part of her transformation?
No, but I can look it up. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
I won't let you hog all the good stuff. That has nothing to do with
you fucking goblin. I will say ramen is full of good stuff, you know? You've got like your bok choy and your eggs and your seaweed sheets. So I get where she's coming from.
Absolutely. Another thing about her character, I don't know what you said that sparked this connection, but another character that she might have some sort of spiritual connection to is Elena from Star Twinkle, because they show a flashback of Rand traveling with her family, and obviously it progresses through time, and she has at least 2 younger siblings, and there's just a couple of characters in PreCure that have a lot of siblings. Most of the time it's either 0 siblings or 1 sibling, but some are blessed with like families of like 5 or 6 people. So.
Absolutely. In our quote list on our docket for the episode, you mentioned that her catchphrase might be "It's fun to the max" because she shouted it in the episode.
Absolutely. Something about the way she said it made me think that might be a catchphrase that she brings up a lot. Kind of like Yui's delicious smile. And I think Mary has one that's like oversized or mega sized or something like that. But she also had a Super Saiyan moment. James and I really connected with that. And I mean, I know you watched some Dragon Ball as a kid, but you watched it mostly because you had like a cousin who watched it. Whereas I think James and I watched it for our own enjoyment. We loved it. But when she realizes that Gentle has messed with her family's diner, she like literally like takes like the anime powerful step forward where like the ground almost shakes with the force of her step, and she's like, I can't believe you did this. She gets like this orangish aura about her. She yells and it literally shows the clouds parting. It's such a shonen anime thing that they did with her before she transformed, and I absolutely love that for her.
Her power cannot be contained.
Yes.
So we gotta talk about student council Prez.
Absolutely.
She is almost certainly Gentle. Like, at this point, there's no argument, right?
Yeah, the only way that she could not be is if it's a red herring. They deliberately are making you think that it's her, and it's not. But I still think that there will be some connection.
She and Gentle could be sisters.
Yes, I've seen the idea that maybe they're sisters, maybe even twins, and that'd be kind of interesting. I doubt it, but wouldn't it be interesting if the student council president is unaware she's Gentle? She just like blacks out. Gentle takes over.
A Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing.
Exactly, and she wakes up like 2 hours later. It's like, why?
Here's the theory. Okay,
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Where's the theory?
Here it is, right here. Buckle in your seatbelt. Brace yourself. Gentle's hat is possessed. The hat contains a
By
malevolent.
Mario.
The hat contains a malevolent spirit.
Right.
Yes.
Like Mario Odyssey.
Shh. No. And that creates this Gentle persona.
Okay. Yeah.
And the PreCure will finally defeat her when they knock her hat off and replace it with a single egg that she must balance on her head at all times to keep the hat from being replaced.
Okay, I like that. And in the dramatic moment in the second to last episode of the season when the true big bads revealed themselves, the egg is knocked over and Gentle comes back and everyone goes, oh no, she's even stronger now.
Perfect.
I do have one more thing really quick that I want to touch on. So James saw some speculation on Twitter, that one welder guy, and I was kind of thinking this when I was watching the episode too, although I haven't dug into it. But we've lost a couple of episodes due to the hack. Like, I don't think that they will delay the Delicious Party season to give it, like, episode 45 and 46. So we probably have had some content cut, which is unfortunate. If Gentle and Student Council President were meant to be the same character, and that is the reveal, and it was supposed to be slowly teased out, potentially after we finally got the main 3 cures, I think that we might have had a couple of extra episodes that slowly made President Amane seem more and more sinister or implicated, I guess, in Gentle's crimes. But her just coming up into the library, mentioning recipes out of nowhere, suggesting a plot which will definitely cause more of them to show up, that Gentle mentioned earlier in the episode, I think that they are rushing the reveal because some of the episodes that were going to be built up were deemed not important enough to survive the cut.
I think so too. That's sad though. That's a bummer.
It really is.
Like first Healin' Good and then Tropical Rouge and now this. Poor Toei can't catch a break. They can't have a season that just airs the way they intended.
Yes, absolutely. I think that it will probably still be pretty good, but yeah, if we get to the end of the season and our main complaint is they kind of rushed that Gentle thing, That's unfortunate, but it's still going to be a good season if that's the only hang-up.
I'm enjoying it for sure. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Did anything happen in Max Heart this week?
Nothing!
Cool, let's talk about Sweet. We watched 2 episodes of Sweet PreCure, Sweet 28 and Sweet 29.
Wait, really? I will say, one sentence quick note. What's-her-face, Shiny Luminous, has the power to create a rainbow field that makes the PreCure stronger.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So something did happen. You're a liar.
Well,
you lied to our listeners.
Not much happened.
Okay. Sweet PreCure.
Sweet, pretty cute. Ah! We watched episodes 28, 29, like my beautiful co-host just mentioned. In episode 28, the Hibiki and Kanade mentioned that summer break is ending because I guess Ellen became Ellen during the summer break. And she goes, oh, summer break's ending? And they're like, yeah, we're going to go back to school, but school's kind of fun. And Ellen goes, oh, I want to go to school. And Otokichi hears this and somehow is able to pull some strings and get her enrolled at the school. It's PreCure, don't worry about it. You can have a mermaid transfer into the school. They don't ask about any kind of legal paperwork or permission from the parents or anything like that. It's just, you say you want to go and they let you go to school. How nice. And so that's the
I'm
episode.
sure Otokichi was like, I am this girl's guardian. She's a transfer.
Yeah, I still think that you should have to submit some form of paperwork. Like, I would think that... I guess you don't really have a license until you learn how to drive, so maybe... Anyways, Otokichi pulls some strings. She goes to school. Ellen is super nervous about going to school. She kind of overtaxes herself. She's up all night the night before, worried about giving her "Hello, my name is Ellen" speech, and that causes her to kind of like pass out in the middle of school. But then she finds out that everyone cares about her, and then the minor trio show up, and they're like, "We're gonna destroy the school or whatever," and she's like, "Oh, that's Urisanai, Zetai, me, Urisanai," and then they transform and save the day. It was a fun episode, but it was kind of a nothing episode.
I liked it. I think Ellen is really cute and enthusiastic, and I love that Kanade is just such a control freak.
Yes.
So she's trying to explain school to Ellen, and Ellen is very furiously taking notes, and then Hummy interjects, and Ellen's like, Hummy, or not Ellen, Kanade's like, Hummy, shut up, and Ellen's writing down, Hummy, shut up, and then Hummy says something else, and Ellen writes down what he says, and Kanade goes, Ellen, stop writing the things that Hummy said, and she just gets like increasingly more upset.
Yes. On that sticker sheet, I have 2 little speech bubbles of Kanade in different forms of being flustered, basically, and being like, no, don't write that down. Because at one point, Ami says, Kanade really likes to touch the toe beans or whatever, which you and I have already speculated is kind of a perverse thing. And Ellen starts writing it down, likes to touch the paw. And she goes, don't write that down.
She used a word that was like explicitly weird. It was like fondle or molest. Like,
oh, yeah.
And Hibiki's just having a good time while all this is going on. She's just vibing.
Absolutely. Now, when we were watching this episode with James in the Discord, I said something about, like, I bet you... Well, I mean, I guess the writing was on the wall, right? Ellen is writing down things like, oh, I see, you go to class, then you go to lunch, which is not something you need to write down.
She was writing it on the wall? I thought she was writing it in a notebook.
Ha 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 ha. They telegraphed that Ellen was going to be a bit of an odd duck. I thought she was a cat at school. and
whack, meow.
I think that they did a pretty good job of having her be this awkward kid who doesn't really, like, know how to human. And so they tell her, Hibiki and Kanade the day before, that she has to write her name large on the whiteboard. And she decides that she's going to write her name so it takes up the entire blackboard. And they're like, you don't have to write it that big. At one point she goes, oh, I'm going to sing a song. And they're like, you really don't have to. And then they ask her, like, the students ask her at one point where she's from. And she goes, oh, I used to be in Minorland. And Kanade, like, has to, like, try to distract the students so they don't figure out that she's from this, like, weird fantasy land with talking cats and stuff.
I used to be a cat, actually. Want to see me pee in a box?
Yes, I was going to bring that up. While we were watching the episode, you, me, and James, we all had a good time imagining, like, what if Ellen just went full cat during her introduction? Like, hi, my name is Ellen, and I groom myself 3 times a day. Would you like to see it? And Vicky and Conade are like, no! And James suggested, like, what if in the middle of introducing herself, she just hawks up a hairball? You already made the, I pee in a box joke, but I was going to be like, Sensei, where's the litter box? The what?
One of the ones that I suggested was get off the counter and stop hissing.
Yes.
Which is especially funny to me because I absolutely in middle school was that kid who hissed at people. So that doesn't even necessarily mean she's got a weird secret. She could just be a weird kid.
Well, here's the thing. Hissing at another person is weird, but there's certain contexts where it kind of like makes sense. But would you get up on a desk on all fours and hiss?
Not me, no.
Okay. I think that's the amount of exaggeration that. And then one of my other favorites is James suggesting Ellen eating biscuits when she's happy. I really want to see that so much.
That would be adorable. Yes, I want to see her like doing biscuits in Conade's hair because that's what she used to do too.
Oh, falsetto. Yeah, absolutely.
Also, shout out to Falsetto. This poor sweetie. It's his turn to be leader, but bass drum is the one who's like, this is our plan for the week. And I looked at Joel and I was like, wait, isn't it Falsetto's turn? And then baritone goes, hey, it's Falsetto's turn to be leader because he is such a good husband. And Falsetto says, no, it's okay. Bass drum is pretty forceful.
Oh, man.
Baby, I hope you get your time to shine and I hope you do better than the other two because you have just been like vibing in the background this whole time.
Absolutely. But yeah, other than it's a funny episode, I wouldn't say that a lot happens. But at the end of the episode, Hibiki once again hears that voice and says like, hey, Hibiki, you gotta do something. And she goes, what is this? And they find out that they need to find something called the crescendo tone, which is in Majorland. And that's kind of like the big bomb drop cliffhanger ending to episode 28. In episode 29, Hami uses Hami's magic power to create a rainbow bridge to take them to Majorland. Princess Peach tells them that the crescendo tone was put in something called the healing chest, which got attacked and lost inside of like the dark woods. So in order to get the healing chest, to get the crescendo tone to save the day, they have to go into the dark woods. But no one's ever been able to do it before. Oh no. They go in and they get separated from each other and they have to fight some Easter Island heads.
They get bodies.
Yes, but it's Easter Island heads that grow like these buff stone bodies out of the ground, and they have to fight these things.
They appear to be being controlled by Mephisto, like, remotely, because he's talking to the PreCure through them the whole fight.
Oh, is he? Mm-hmm. Interesting. See, okay, Mephisto is talking throughout this episode, and I get the impression that he's talking to the minor trio and explaining the same backstory that the sweet girls are being taught by Princess Peach and these Easter Island heads. But maybe you're right, there might be a connection there. Mephisto does reveal that he once tried to get the healing chest himself, which is interesting because Princess Peach said she doesn't know who the dark force was that tried to take the healing chest of the crescendo tone in the first place. So maybe that was Mephisto, or maybe that's another red herring because Mephisto's just a Wario type and the real bad guy is somewhere out there still. But they're fighting. Sinatra
wants to be Waluigi too.
Okay, that's
She's
enough.
done.
Yes, she is. Okay, she's saying that anymore she'll have to charge us for her voice acting abilities. Anyways, they're fighting these Easter Island heads, and they end up using the power of friendship to defeat each individual Easter Island head at the same time in their separate dimensions. And then the dimensions fuse back together, and the 3 Easter Island heads become one mega Easter Island head, and he captures Hami, and he's like, I'm gonna kill Hami if you don't back down, what are you gonna do? And then they go, we're gonna fight anyways! And through the power of friendship, they get the healing chest, and inside the healing chest is the crescendo tone, which looks like a golden fairy tone. And we are told that the crescendo tone is the source of all sounds, and that the healing chest has more powers. So that's probably what next episode's going to be about. You know, Kanade is going to be doing scientific tests on the healing chest, and Hibiki is going to play sports with the healing chest, and Ellen's going to rock out in the presence of the healing chest.
I like that. I like that theory. Do we have any tweets in a bottle this week? That's not what they're called. We have to change the docket.
The document.
So that it says sweet sound bites.
Well, hang on. We got to talk about episode 29 a little bit.
Oh, I thought we did. That was just the succinct summary, wasn't it?
That was the succinct summary. Whoopsie.
So did you like this episode?
No, did you like this episode?
I liked it fine. It was a fine episode. I don't really get the point of introducing the crescendo tone. Mm-hmm. I'm more interested in the stuff that's going on with Muse. So this feels like a diversion.
Well, so here's something interesting. I have absolutely no idea if they are connected, but considering that Cure Muse likely joins the team, and given the fact that they've been setting up this Cure Muse plot for a while now, Aphrodite clearly knew something when Hibiki and Kanade were like, we met a Cure who didn't talk. She had like a look of like, on her face, and then they're like, what was that, Queen? She goes, nothing. So she's hiding something about Cure Muse. And she also knew about the crescendo tone and the healing chest, but chose not to tell Hibiki and Kanade or Hami about this until now. So my guess is that they are connected somehow. So when Cure Muse said it wasn't time to reveal herself, maybe the time to reveal herself is once they've accepted the power of the crescendo tone into their hearts, or whatever the case may be.
Gotcha. Okay, that could be fair. I still think that Odakichi and Aphrodite had, like, a relationship, and Cure Muse is related to them in some way.
Oh, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see if the girls try to use the power of the crescendo tone, and they can't. They're missing some important ingredient. And I wonder if Odakichi will mumble something to himself or directly tell them the thing that they're missing. I bet you he will insightfully know exactly what they need to do with the crescendo tone.
Absolutely. I love how, like, grandpa figures play such a big role in this series overall.
Absolutely.
Like, in A Star Twinkle, Hikaru has the old man at the observatory that she's really close to.
Absolutely. Honoka's grandma has some connection to Meppel, which will never be explored, or Meppel, which will never be explored, that kind of a thing.
Absolutely.
I also have to point out that in this episode, Hibiki, Kanade, and Ellen have their own Super Saiyan moment, and I just think it's incredible that we're covering 3 different shows for this podcast, and 2 of them had a Super Saiyan moment that just happened to line up in our watch order, so they happened on the same week. But basically, when they decide that their friendship is important and they're not going to let Hami die, they get like this golden aura about them, and they're able to transform. And you know, even if I didn't know the tropes of PreCure, the crescendo tone is very clearly a power-up item, and so I like that in order to get the crescendo tone, they had to kind of sort of hint at the fact that their feelings are already evolving. Kind of like in the Lord Slug movie when Goku very briefly got the golden aura of the Super Saiyan, even though at that point he hadn't unlocked the Super Saiyan power yet.
Is his name really Lord Slug?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anime is weird.
Anime is very weird.
Do you have anything else you want to say about episode 29 of Sweet Sweet Pretty Cure?
I was surprised that Hami could go back to Majorland whenever she wanted. I kind of figured that wasn't allowed, you know? But I do also appreciate that the Rainbow Road-esque thing that Hami created that takes them back to Majorland looks exactly like the keyboard that Cure Muse summoned. So more connection between Cure Muse and Majorland.
Very suspicious. What are you looking forward to in the next episode? Just them like trying to figure out how this box works?
It's weird because the episodes that are really fun often aren't like plotly irrelevant, and the episodes that are plotly irrelevant don't feel very fun. So I guess what I'm looking forward in the next episode is mostly just shenanigans. Like, I don't really care about the crescendo tone at this point, but I'm hoping that the show will surprise me. Maybe the crescendo tone will have like a really funny voice, you know, or something will happen that will make it more interesting than it currently is. Because right now it just feels like plot device X.
Yeah, absolutely. It just feels like it's going to be their next power up or whatever. Their next buy our toys.
Yes. Do you have any predictions? Like, will it make them faster? Will it give them vocal sound blasts?
I think they'll each get a sound.
Okay.
And it'll be like their own unique sound that gives them a power.
Okay.
Kanade's will just be her screaming the B word.
I love it. Now, moving on to tweets in the bottle, sound bites, delicious platter delicacies, whatever we are calling them. We got a lot of different comments from James as we were live watching the Sweet episodes, and I kind of picked my favorite, which was the Ellen at school kind of a thing. And then we also had some discussions about if Ran would get her own Super Saiyan post-transformation monologue. Unfortunately, they didn't go that far, but it would be great to hear her say, like, she's the savior of all the noodles, or whatever the case may be, you know? I am the broth that soaks up the noodles of justice.
I love it. Oh, gosh. Man, talking about her is making me want ramen so bad.
Absolutely. The only thought that James really had for Delicious Party was that we finally got Cure Yum Yum, which is awesome, and the episode was so good that he watched it twice. At the time he posted that, I'm pretty sure at this point he's watched it 3 or 4 times because he really liked the episode. And you know what? Ren is here to stay, hooray! Now we have all 3 team members, and now we get to have fun hijinks of them playing off of each other, hopefully.
I'm really excited to kind of see where it goes. On that note, you have a good crack theory for me to send us off? Sinatra really wants to share hers. Unfortunately, her crack theory is they'll probably transform, and I don't know how to tell her that's not a crack theory. That's just a thing that happens in these shows.
Yeah, Sinatra doesn't seem to understand it. I still predict that there will be some kind of conflict in the next episode, because Rand's like part of the team, but every time someone joins the team, there's some little friction. So I think that she is going to tweet something horribly racist as Chirurun, and the cancel mob's going to come after her, and Yui and Kokone will Civil War style be unable to determine, do we stand by our friend no matter what she says, or must she take responsibility for this horrendous thing that she said?
Okay, and that has been your doot final thought outro goes here.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and be sure to enjoy some ramen.
Yum, yum, yum. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.